This video is for Act 5, Scenes 1 and 2 of Much Ado About Nothing. Summary at the top says, Leonato and his brother tell Claudio and Don Pedro of Hero's death and attempt to challenge them to a duel. Benedict succeeds in issuing his challenge to Claudio, and Claudio and Don Pedro learn about the trick that was played on them. They also learn that Don John has fled from Messina. Having been convinced of Hero's innocence, Claudio begs Leonato's forgiveness and is told that he must sing an epitaph at Hero's tomb that night. The next morning, he is supposed to marry Leonato's niece. All right, so scene 1, enter Leonato and his brother. If you go on thus, you will kill yourself, and 'tis not wisdom thus to second grief against yourself. Leonato says, I pray thee, cease thy counsel, which falls into mine ears as profitless as water in a sieve. Give not me counsel, nor let no comforter delight mine ear, but such a one whose wrongs do suit with mine. Bring me a father that so loved his child, whose joy of her is overwhelmed like mine, and bid him speak of patience. Measure his woe and length and breadth of mine, and let it answer every strain from strain, and thus for thus, and such a grief for such, in every lineament, branch, shape, and form. If such a one will smile and stroke his beard, bid sorrow wag, cry hem when he should groan, patch grief with proverbs, make misfortune drunk with candle wasters, bring him yet to me. And I of him will gather patience, for there is no such man. For brother, men can counsel and speak comfort to that grief which they themselves not feel, but tasting it, their counsel turns to passion, which before would give preceptual medicine to rage, fetter strong madness in a silken thread, charm ache with air and agony with words. No, no, 'tis all men's office to speak patience to those that wring under the load of sorrow, but no man's virtue nor sufficiency to be so moral when he shall endure the like himself. Therefore give me no counsel. My griefs cry louder than advertisement. Therein do men from children nothing differ. I pray thee peace, I will be flesh and blood, for there was never yet philosopher that could endure the toothache patiently, however they have writ the style of gods and made a push at chance and sufferance. Yet bend not all the harm upon yourself, make those that do offend you suffer too. There thou speakest reason, nay, I will do so. My soul doth tell me Hero is belied, and that shall Claudio know. So shall the prince, and all of them that thus dishonor her. Enter Prince and Claudio. Here comes the prince and Claudio hastily. Good e'en, good day to you both. Hear you, my lords. We have some haste, Leonato. Some haste, my lord? Well, fare you well, my lord. Are you so hasty now? Well, all is one. Nay, do not quarrel with us, good old man. If he could right himself with quarreling, some of us would lie low. Who wrongs him? Marry, thou dost wrong me, thou dissembler, thou. Nay, never lay thy hand upon thy sword. I fear thee not. Marry, beshrew my hand if it should give your age such cause of fear. In faith, my hand meant nothing to my sword. Tush, tush, man, never fleer and jest at me. I speak not like a dotard nor a fool, as under privilege of age to brag what I have done being young, or what would do were I not old. No, Claudio, to thy head, thou hast so wronged mine innocent child and me that I am forced to lay my reverence by, and with gray hairs and bruise of many days do challenge thee to trial of a man. I say thou hast belied my innocent child. Thy slander hath gone through and through her heart, and she lies buried with her ancestors. Oh, in a tomb where never scandal slept, save this of hers, framed by thy villainy. My villainy? Thine, Claudio, thine, I say. You say not right, old man. my Lord, I'll prove it on his body if he dare, despite his nice fence and his active practice, his May of youth and bloom of lustihood. Away, I will not have to do with you. Canst thou so daff me? Thou hast killed my child. If thou killest me, boy, thou shalt kill a man. He shall kill two of us, and men indeed, but there's no matter. Let him kill one first. Win me and wear me. Let him answer me. Come, follow me, boy. Come, sir boy. Come, follow me, sir boy. I'll whip you from your foining fence. Nay, as I am a gentleman, I will. Brother, content yourself. God knows I loved my niece, and she is dead, slandered to death by villains that dare as well answer a man indeed, as I dare take a serpent by the tongue. Boys, apes, braggarts, jacks, milksops. Brother Anthony, hold you content. What, man? I know them, yea, and what they weigh, even to the utmost scruple, scambling, outfacing, fashion-monging boys that lie and cog and flout, deprave and slander, go antically and go outward and show outward hideousness, and speak off half a dozen dangerous words, how they might hurt their enemies if they durst, and this is all. But brother Anthony, come, 'tis no matter. Do not you meddle. Let me deal in this. The prince says, Gentlemen both, we will not wake your patience. My heart is sorry for your daughter's death, but on mine honor, she is charged with nothing but was true and very full of truth. My lord, I will not hear you. No, come, brother, away. I will be heard, and shall, or some of us will smart for it. Leonato and his brother exit. Okay, so Leonato and his brother, very mad, want to challenge Claudio to a duel. Claudio will not accept that challenge because he is obviously much younger and kind of in the prime of his life. Obviously, a trained soldier would not be a fair fight. Now enter Benedick. The prince says, See, here comes the man we sent to seek. Claudio says, Now, signor, what news? Good day, my lord. Welcome, signor. You are almost come to part a fray. We had like to have had our two noses snapped off with two old men without teeth. Leonato and his brother, what thinkest thou? Had we fought, I doubt we should have been too young for them. Benedick says, In a false quarrel there is no valor. I came to seek you both. Let's take a look at the questions before we go on. So, question number 1 says, cite the line in which Leonato accuses Claudio of slandering Hero. So maybe we should look back and find that before we get too far here. Let's see. Yeah, here it is. He says, Thou hast wronged mine innocent child and me. That's in line 70. And then Claudio says, My villainy. And Leonato says, Thine, Claudio, thine, I say. So that's line, looks like 81. So in each of those lines, Leonato accuses Claudio of slandering Hero. All right, we haven't gotten to the next one yet. Okay, so Claudio says, We have been up and down to seek thee, for we are high-proof melancholy, and would fain have it beaten away. Wilt thou use thy wit? Benedick says, It is in my scabbard. Shall I draw it? Dost thou wear thy wit by thy side? Never any did so, though very many have been beside their wit. I will bid thee draw, as we do the minstrels, draw to pleasure us. Prince says, As I am an honest man, he looks pale. Art thou sick or angry? What courage, man? What, though care killed a cat? Thou hast mettle enough in thee to kill care. So the prince and Claudio are kind of trying to joke with Benedick, and they've been looking for Benedick because they want him to cheer them up. But Benedick says, Sir, I shall meet your wit in the career and charge you against it. I pray you, choose another subject. Claudio says, Nay, then, give him another staff. This last was broke cross. Prince, by this light he changes more and more. I think he be angry indeed. If he be, he knows how to turn his girdle. Benedick says, "Shall I speak a word in your ear?" Claudio, "God bless me from a challenge." Aside to Claudio, "You are a villain. I jest not. I will make it good how you dare, with what you dare, and when you dare. Do me right, or I will protest your cowardice. You have killed a sweet lady, and her death shall fall heavy on you. Let me hear from you." Claudio says, "Well, I will meet you, so I may have good cheer." Prince, "What a feast! A feast? In faith, I thank him. He hath bid me to a calf's head and a capon, the which if I do not carve most curiously, say my knife's naught. Shall I not find a woodcock too?" Benedick says, "Sir, your wit ambles well, it goes easily." Prince, "I'll tell thee how Beatrice praised thy wit the other day. I said thou hadst a fine wit. True, said she, a fine little one. No, said I, a great wit. Right, says she, a great gross one. Nay, said I, a good wit. Just, said she, it hurts nobody. Nay, said I, the gentleman is wise. Certain, said she, a wise gentleman. Nay, said I, he hath the tongues. That I believe, she said, for he swore a thing to me on Monday night, which he forswore on Tuesday night. There's a double tongue, there's two tongues. Thus did she an hour together transshape thy particular virtues. Yet at last she concluded with a sigh, thou wast the properest man in Italy. Claudio says, for the which she wept heartily and said she cared not. Yea, that she did, but yet for all that, and if she did not hate him deadly, she would love him dearly. The old man's daughter told us all. All, and moreover, God saw him when he was hid in the garden. But when shall we set the savage bull's horns on the sensible Benedick's head? Yea, and text underneath, here dwells Benedick, the married man. So the prince and Claudio are still trying to joke with Benedick, but Benedick has come there with the purpose of challenging Claudio to a duel. So now Benedick says, fare you well, boy. You know my mind. I will leave you now to your gossip-like humor. You break jests as braggarts do their blades, which, God be thanked, hurt not. My lord, for your many, he's now saying this to the prince. My lord, for your many courtesies, I thank you. I must discontinue your company. Your brother, the bastard, is fled from Messina. You have among you killed a sweet and innocent lady. For my lord Lackbeard there, he and I shall meet. Until then, peace be with him. Benedick exits. So the prince realizes now Benedick is serious. So he says, he is in earnest. Claudio, in most profound earnest, and I'll warrant you for the love of Beatrice. And hath challenged thee? Most sincerely. What a pretty thing man is when he goes in his doublet and hose and leaves off his wit. He is then a giant to an ape, but then is an ape a doctor to such a man. But soft you, let me be. Pluck up my heart and be sad. Did he not say my brother has fled? Enter the constables, Dogberry and Verges, and the watch with Conrad and Borachio. So before we go on, I think question 2 said, what news does Benedick and give Don Pedro about Don John? So he has told Benedick that Benedick has told Don Pedro that his brother has fled, that he's run away from Messina. How does Claudio respond when Benedick challenges him? I mean, at first he thinks that he's joking. Then when he finally realizes that he's not, he'll have to accept the fact that, he will have to accept the challenge. Okay, so now Dogberry and Verges enter with the watch, along with Conrad and Borachio. Dogberry says, come you, sir. If justice cannot tame you, she shall ne'er weigh more reasons in her balance. Nay, and you be a cursing hypocrite once, you must be looked to. Prince, how now? 2 of my brother's men bound? Borachio one. Hearken after their offense, my lord. Officers, what offense have these men done? Marry, sir, they have committed false report. Moreover, they have spoken untruths. Secondarily, they are slanders. Sixth and lastly, they have belied a lady. Thirdly, they have verified unjust things. And to conclude, they are lying knaves. Prince, first, I ask thee what they have done. Thirdly, I ask thee what's their offense. Sixth and lastly, why they are committed. And to conclude, what you lay to their charge. Claudio jokes, rightly reasoned and in his own division. And by my troth, there's one meaning well suited. The prince says to Borachio and Conrad, who have you offended, masters, that you are thus bound to your answer? This learned constable is too cunning to be understood. What's your offense? Sweet prince, let me go no farther to mine answer. Do you hear me, and let this count kill me. I have deceived even your very eyes. What your wisdoms could not discover, these shallow fools have brought to light, who, in the night, overheard me confessing to this man how Don John, your brother, incensed me to slander the lady Hero, how you were brought into the orchard and saw me court Margaret in Hero's garments, how you disgraced her when you should marry her. My villainy they have upon record, which I had rather seal with my death than repeat over to my shame. The lady is dead upon mine and my master's false accusation, and briefly, I desire nothing but the reward of a villain. Prince says to Claudio, runs not this speech like iron through your blood? Claudio says, I have drunk poison whilst he uttered it. But did my brother set thee on this? Yea, and paid me richly for the practice of it. He is composed and framed of treachery, and is fled he is upon this villainy. Claudio says, sweet Hero, now thy image doth appear in the rare semblance that I loved it first. Dogberry says, come, bring away the plaintiffs. By this time our sexton hath reformed Signor Leonato of the matter, and masters, do not forget to specify, when time and place shall serve, that I am an ass. Here comes Master Signor Leonato and the sexton too. Enter Leonato, his brother, and the sexton. So question 3 says, how does Claudio respond when Benedick challenged? Oh, we did that one. How does Claudio respond when he hears the prisoner's confession? He says something about drinking poison whilst they uttered it. So he's definitely feeling horrible, feeling guilty about what has happened to Hero. And then, okay, so we haven't gotten to 5 yet. Leonato says, which is the villain? Let me see his eyes, that when I note another man like him, I may avoid him. Which of these is he? Borachio says, if you would know your wronger, look on me. Art thou the slave that with thy breath hast killed mine innocent child? Yea, even I alone. No, not so, villain, thou beliest thyself. Here stand a pair of honorable men. A third is fled that had a hand in it. I thank you, princes, for my daughter's death. Record it with your high and worthy deeds. 'Twas bravely done, if you bethink you of it. Claudio says, I know not how to pray your patience, yet I must speak. Choose your revenge yourself. Impose me to what penance your invention can lay upon my sin. Yet sinned I not, but in mistaking. Prince says, by my soul nor I, and yet to satisfy this good old man, I would bend under any heavy weight that he'll enjoin me to. Leonato says, I cannot bid you bid my daughter live. That were impossible. But I pray you both possess the people in Messina here how innocent she died. And if your love can labor aught in sad invention, hang her an epitaph upon her tomb and sing it to her bones. Sing it tonight. Tomorrow morning come you to my house, and since you could not be my son-in-law, be yet my nephew. My brother hath a daughter, almost the copy of my child that's dead, and she alone is heir to both of us. Give her the right you should have given her cousin, and so dies my revenge. O noble sir, your overkindness doth wring tears from me. I do embrace your offer, and dispose for henceforth of poor Claudio. Tomorrow then I will expect your coming. Tonight I take my leave. This naughty man shall face to face be brought to Margaret, who I believe was packed in all this wrong, hired to it by your brother. Braccio says, No, by my soul she was not, nor knew not what she did when she spoke to me, but always hath been just and virtuous in anything that I do know by her. And Dogberry says, Moreover, sir, which indeed is not under black and white, this plaintiff here, the offender, did call me ass. I beseech you, let it be remembered in his punishment. And also the watch heard them talk of one deformed. They say he wears a key in his ear and a lock hanging by it, and borrows money in God's name, the which he hath used so long and never paid, that now men grow hard-hearted, and will lend nothing for God's sake. Pray you, examine him upon that point. Leonato says, I thank thee for thy care and honest pains. Dogberry, your worship speaks like a most thankful and reverent youth, and I praise God for you. Leonato gives him some money. There's for thy pains. God save the foundation. Leonato, go, I discharge thee of thy prisoner, and I thank you. I leave an errant knave with your worship, which I beseech your worship to correct yourself for the example of others. God keep your worship. I wish your worship well. God restore you to health. I humbly give you leave to depart, and if a merry meeting may be wished, God prohibit it. Come, neighbor. So several more malapropisms by Dogberry there. Then Leonato says, Until tomorrow morning, lords, farewell. Farewell, my lords, we look for you tomorrow. We will not fail. Tonight, I'll mourn with Hero. Bring you these fellows on. We'll talk with Margaret, how her acquaintance grew with this lewd fellow. And they exit. Okay, so what promise does Claudio make Leonato? Promises that he will go to the family tomb, that he will sing an epitaph to Hero's grave and proclaim to the world that she was innocent. And then the following morning, he's going to marry Leonato's niece. Okay, don't forget to do your response log. You can always pause the video if you'd like to go ahead and do that. And then we are going to continue with Act 5, Scene 2. Question 1, Mary, I cannot show it in rhyme. What is Benedick trying to do? So we'll check that out. The summary says, Benedick tells Beatrice that he has challenged Claudio. They are summoned to Leonato's house with news that Hero's innocence has been proved. Scene 2. Enter Benedick and Margaret. Pray thee, sweet Mistress Margaret, deserve well at my hands by helping me to the speech of Beatrice. Will you then write me a sonnet in praise of my beauty? In so high a style, Margaret, that no man living shall come over it, for in most comely truth thou deservest it. To have no man come over me, why, shall I always keep below stairs? Thy wit is as quick as the greyhound's mouth it catches, and yours as blunt as the fencer's foils, which hit but hurt not. A most manly wit, Margaret, it will not hurt a woman, and so I pray thee, call Beatrice. I give thee the bucklers. Give us the swords, we have bucklers of our own. If you use them, Margaret, you must put in the pikes with the vice, and they are dangerous weapons for maids. Well, I will call Beatrice to you, who I think hath legs, and therefore she will come. Margaret exits. Okay, now Benedick starts to sing. The God of love that sits above. And then he goes on, and knows me how pitiful I deserve. I mean in singing, but in loving. Leander the good swimmer, Troilus the first employer of panders, and a whole book full of these quondam carpetmongers, whose names yet run smoothly in the even road of a blank verse. Why, they were never so truly turned over and over as my poor self in love. Mary, I cannot show it in rhyme. I have tried. I can find out no rhyme for lady, but baby, an innocent rhyme. For scorn, horn, a hard rhyme. For school, Fool, a babbling rhyme, very ominous endings. No, I was not born under a rhyming planet, nor I cannot woo in festival terms. So, question number one, Mary, I cannot show it in rhyme. What is Benedict trying to do? So, he is trying to write a poem and possibly even put it to music that expresses his love for Beatrice, but he's having a hard time getting it to rhyme. Enter Beatrice, and he says, Sweet Beatrice, wouldst thou come when I called thee? Yea, Signor, and depart when you bid me. Oh, stay but till then. Then is spoken. Fare you well now. And yet, ere I go, let me go with that I came, which is with knowing what hath passed between you and Claudio. Only foul words, and thereupon I will kiss thee. Foul words is but foul wind, and foul wind is but foul breath, and foul breath is noisome. Therefore, I will depart unkissed. Thou hast frighted the word out of his right sense, so forcible is thy wit. But I must tell thee plainly, Claudio undergoes my challenge, and either I must shortly hear from him, or I will subscribe him a coward. And I pray thee, now tell me, for which of my bad parts didst thou first fall in love with me? For them all together, which maintain so politic a state of evil that they will not admit any good part to intermingle with them. But for which of my good parts did you first suffer love for me? Suffer love, a good epithet. I do suffer love indeed, for I love thee against my will. In spite of your heart, I think. Alas, poor heart, if you spite it for my sake, I will spite it for yours, for I will never love that which my friend hates. Thou and I are too wise to woo peaceably. It appears not in this confession. There's not one wise man among 20 that will praise himself. An old instance, Beatrice, that lived in the time of good neighbors. If a man do not erect in his age his own tomb ere he dies, he shall live no longer in monument than the bell rings and the widow weeps. And how long is that, think you? Question, why an hour in clamor and a quarter in room. Therefore is it most expedient for the wise, if Don Worm, his conscience, finds no impediment to the contrary, to be the trumpet of his own virtues, as I am to myself. So much for praising myself, who I myself will bear witness is praiseworthy. And now tell me, how doth your cousin? Very ill. And how do you? Very ill too. Serve God, love me, and mend. There will I leave you too, for here comes one in haste. Enter Ursula. Madam, you must come to your uncle. Yonder's old coil at home. It is proved my lady hero hath been falsely accused, the prince and Claudio mightily abused, and Don John is the author of all, who is fled and gone. Will you come presently? Ursula exits. Beatrice, will you go hear this news, Signor? I will live in thy heart, die in thy lap, and be buried in thy eyes. And moreover, I will go with thee to thy uncle's. And they exit. All right, so question 2, how does Beatrice respond when Benedict asks how Hero is? Well, she says very ill. So what do you think she means by very ill? And then question 3, what news does Ursula bring? She just said it. Hero's innocence has been proved, and she asks them to go with her or to follow her to Leonato's. So that is the end of scene 2. Make sure you take a little time to complete the questions and the response log. And we just have 2 scenes left, which we will read in the very near future.